in a move that has reverberated across the globe, sending shockwaves through diplomatic circles and newsrooms alike. The BRICS alliance has, for the first time in its history, welcomed two European nations, Italy and Hungary, into its ranks, marking a momentous expansion. Both countries, long-standing members of the European Union and NATO, officially joined the bloc on January 1, 2026, in a ceremony watched by millions around the world. This is more than symbolic. It marks a seismic shift in global geopolitics, challenging the established order and raising new questions about the future balance of power. The post-Cold War order, which for decades has been dominated by Western alliances and institutions, now faces its most significant challenge yet, as the world witnesses a realignment of allegiances. Italy and Hungary's decision to align with a group including China, Russia, and other major emerging economies signals a profound shift in the world's economic and political gravity, hinting at new priorities and opportunities. For decades, European integration was seen as the only path forward, a symbol of unity, stability, and shared prosperity for the continent. Now, two of its own are seeking new partnerships within a bloc representing nearly half the world's population, a group whose influence is rapidly expanding on the global stage. This development forces us to question the future of alliances, the durability of old partnerships, and the very architecture of international relations as we know it. The allure of BRICS, vast markets, rapidly growing middle classes, ambitious infrastructure projects, and a promise of a multipolar world has become too powerful for some to ignore, offering new avenues for growth and cooperation. Italy and Hungary's accession signals that the West's magnetic pull is weakening, and new centers of influence are emerging, shifting the world's economic and political focus toward the East and the global South. This move will test the cohesion of the EU and NATO, forcing a reassessment of global strategies and compelling leaders to confront difficult questions about unity, loyalty, and the future direction of their alliances. The entry of two European nations into BRICS is not the end, but the dramatic opening of a new and unpredictable act in global politics, one that will shape the world for years to come with consequences that are only beginning to unfold. To grasp the gravity of this moment, we must understand BRICS's origins. Coined in 2001 by economist Jim O'Neill, BRICS began as an investment thesis, not a political alliance. It identified Brazil, Russia, India, and China as emerging markets set to dominate the global economy. The concept soon took on political life, as these nations sought greater geopolitical influence and a voice in global institutions dominated by the West. The first BRICS summit in 2009 marked its diplomatic debut. South Africa joined in 2010, expanding its reach to Africa. BRICS's main goal: advocate for a multipolar world and reform global financial institutions. Its most notable achievement, the new development bank, offers an alternative to the World Bank, funding infrastructure without Western policy strings. Despite internal divisions, BRICS's staying power and expansion show its enduring appeal as a coalition of the non-West. Italy and Hungary's accession shatters the idea that BRICS is a non-Western club. Italy, a G7 founder, and Hungary, a rebellious EU and NATO member, have taken a step unimaginable a decade ago. Their decision stems from years of shifting politics and disillusionment with traditional Western alliances. Hungary's move extends its Eastern opening policy, formalizing ties with Russia and China and reducing dependence on the West. Italy, facing economic stagnation and frustration with EU rules, sees BRICS as a chance to unlock new markets and investment. Both frame their decision as embracing a multipolar reality, not rejecting the West. They argue BRICS membership isn't mutually exclusive with EU and NATO commitments, a claim met with skepticism. Their pivot is a clear symptom of a changing world. At the core of Italy and Hungary's decision to pivot towards BRICS lies a deep sense of economic pragmatism, shaped by shifting global realities and the need to secure their future prosperity. With Europe's economic growth slowing and traditional markets becoming less predictable, the dynamism and rapid expansion of BRICS markets has become increasingly irresistible for both countries. Italy's trade with BRICS nations was already outpacing its trade with the EU, especially with China, signaling a clear shift in economic priorities and opportunities for Italian exporters. By joining BRICS, Both nations aim to lower trade barriers, secure better export terms, and gain access to the new development bank for much-needed infrastructure funding, which could boost their economies and create new jobs. Hungary, heavily reliant on foreign investment, especially in its manufacturing sector, sees BRICS as a strategic way to attract more capital, foster new partnerships, and cement its role as a key European hub for Chinese and other BRICS investments. Both nations are also eager to de-risk from over-reliance on the US dollar, as BRICS explores new ways to facilitate trade in local currencies, potentially reducing exposure to currency fluctuations and sanctions. This move offers a valuable hedge against global volatility and the unpredictability of US monetary policy, providing more stability for their economies. The future of global finance may not be dollar-dominated, and Italy and Hungary are positioning themselves early to have a stake in emerging alternatives, ensuring they are not left behind. For both countries, it's a pragmatic calculation, one that aims to secure long-term prosperity, economic resilience, and new opportunities for their people. Ultimately, economic self-interest and a clear-eyed view of the changing world order are driving this historic realignment, as Italy and Hungary seek to shape their own destinies. Beyond economics, Italy and Hungary's move is a bold bid for strategic autonomy. This decision signals a desire to chart their own course, independent of the traditional power structures that have long shaped European politics. Both nations have felt constrained by Western alliances and seek greater sovereignty on the world stage. They are increasingly questioning whether their national interests are truly served by always aligning with the policies of larger Western powers. Hungary's goal is clear: become a regional powerhouse, not beholden to any single great power. By asserting its independence, Hungary hopes to shape its own destiny and influence regional affairs more directly. BRICS membership gives Budapest a platform to amplify its voice and negotiate more effectively with the EU. It opens doors to new partnerships, economic opportunities, and a chance to balance Western influence with emerging global players. Italy, as a Mediterranean power, often finds its interests at odds with Northern Europe or the US on migration, energy, and security. These differences have sometimes left Rome feeling isolated within its traditional alliances. BRICS offers Rome a new forum to pursue these interests and diversify its diplomatic toolkit. By engaging with a broader set of partners, Italy can better advocate for its unique priorities and strengthen its global standing. This is also a reaction to perceived US unreliability, as recent American policies have left European allies uncertain. The shifting stance of the US has prompted many in Europe to reconsider their dependence on Washington for security and leadership. By joining BRICS, Italy and Hungary are hedging their bets, building relationships that could prove vital if US engagement wanes. They are preparing for a world where alliances are more fluid and power is more widely distributed. It's strategic diversification for an unpredictable future, a calculated move to ensure their voices are heard, no matter how the global order evolves. Italy and Hungary's entry into BRICS is already redrawing global trade and investment. Expect a reorientation of supply chains, new economic corridors, and a surge in targeted investments. Reduced tariffs and streamlined customs will make Italian and Hungarian goods more competitive in BRICS markets. Exports of Italian machinery and luxury goods and Hungarian agricultural products will rise, while European consumers see more BRICS imports. The new development bank will fund major infrastructure projects, modernizing Italian ports and expanding Hungarian logistics hubs. Direct investment from China, India, and Brazil will flow into strategic sectors like technology and energy. Italy's Mediterranean position and Hungary's central location make them key nodes in new trade routes. The southern corridor will challenge the dominance of northern European ports. This integration will reshape Europe's economic landscape. BRICS's expansion to include EU and NATO members has triggered soul-searching in Western capitals. For the EU, Italy and Hungary's move threatens policy unity, making consensus on foreign policy and sanctions harder to achieve. Brussels fears they could act as Trojan horses, diluting EU policies that conflict with BRICS interests. For NATO, the implications are profound. Italy and Hungary now share a bloc with Russia, NATO's main adversary. This raises questions about trust, intelligence sharing, and alliance reliability. The US, faces a dilemma: punish Italy and Hungary and risk pushing them further away, or do nothing and appear weak. Washington will likely intensify diplomatic engagement to prevent further fragmentation. The cohesion of Western alliances is now on the line. The inclusion of Italy and Hungary in BRICS challenges the architecture of global governance. BRICS nations argue that institutions like the UN, IMF, and World Bank are outdated and unrepresentative. Their expansion aims to build alternatives, not dismantle the old order. The new development bank offers loans without Western policy strings, appealing to nations wary of interference. BRICS is also coordinating on issues from internet regulation to climate change, pushing a model that values state sovereignty. Italy and Hungary's membership gives this vision new legitimacy, showing its appeal reaches into the West. The result, a more fragmented, competitive landscape for global governance with competing blocs and standards. This could spur innovation, but also risks chaos and makes tackling global challenges harder. We stand at a historic turning point. Italy and Hungary's entry into BRICS signals the end of the unipolar moment and the rise of a more complex world order. Traditional alliances like the EU and NATO face unprecedented tests, while global trade and investment shift eastward. BRICS has evolved from an acronym to a geopolitical force with a foothold in Europe. Middle powers like Italy and Hungary are pursuing multi-aligned, interest-driven policies, refusing to be passive players. The world is now more complicated, but more nations have a voice in shaping their destiny. The full consequences of this realignment will unfold over years, forcing us to reconsider the nature of power and alliances. Are we witnessing a more balanced global order, or the start of a more fragmented age?